40,000 years ago, somewhere in southern Europe, a fire burned for the last time. Around it sat a family. They laughed, they shared food, they watched the stars. None of them knew they belonged to a species that was about to disappear forever. Or did they? For over 300,000 years, the Neanderthals survived ice ages, hunted giant animals, and adapted to one of the harshest environments humans have ever faced. They were not the primitive cave monsters old books once described. They buried their dead. They crafted sophisticated stone tools. They made ornaments from eagle claws and shells. Some evidence even suggests they created cave art. So why did they vanish? For more than a century, scientists searched for a simple answer. The truth turned out to be far stranger. The story begins nearly 430,000 years ago. Deep in what is now Spain, a population of ancient humans evolved unique adaptations to Europe's cold climate. Over thousands of generations, those adaptations became more pronounced. Their bodies grew shorter and stronger. Their chests became wider. Their noses became larger, helping warm, freezing air before it reached their lungs. Eventually, they became what we now call Neanderthals. Physically, they looked different from us, but not as different as many people imagine. An average Neanderthal man stood around 165 centimeters tall. He was heavily built. His muscles were enormous. His bones were thicker than those of modern humans. Living through repeated ice ages demanded incredible strength. Their brains were just as surprising. For decades, people assumed Neanderthals were less intelligent simply because they disappeared. Then, scientists measured their skulls. Many Neanderthal brains were actually as large as, and sometimes larger than, those of modern humans. Brain size alone doesn't determine intelligence, but it destroyed the old stereotype. Who were these people, really? Archaeologists began uncovering clues. At sites across France, Croatia, Belgium, Iraq, and Spain, researchers discovered carefully crafted stone tools, not random rocks, purpose-built hunting equipment. Different tools served different jobs. Some cut meat, others scraped animal hides, others shaped wood. This wasn't random survival. It was planning. Evidence from caves suggested Neanderthals repeatedly returned to the same seasonal hunting grounds. They understood animal migration. They knew where food would appear before it arrived. That required memory, experience, and communication. Then came an even bigger surprise. In Iraq's Shanidar cave, archaeologists uncovered skeletons unlike anything they expected. One individual had suffered devastating injuries years before death. A damaged arm, serious leg injuries, partial blindness. Yet this person survived for many years. That could only happen if others cared for them. Someone shared food. Someone provided protection. Someone refused to leave them behind. Compassion leaves no fossil, but sometimes its consequences do. Then another mystery emerged. Neanderthal skeletons have been found intentionally buried in multiple locations. Scientists still debate whether these burials carried spiritual meaning, but they clearly required planning. Digging a grave takes time. Time costs energy. Energy was precious. Why spend it on the dead? What did they believe happened after death? No one knows. Perhaps no one ever will. Then something extraordinary happened. Around 60,000 years ago, another human species entered Europe. Us. Modern Homo sapiens had evolved in Africa hundreds of thousands of years earlier. Small groups gradually expanded into the Middle East, then farther north. Eventually, they entered lands the Neanderthals had occupied for hundreds of millennia. For thousands of years, the two human species shared the same continent. They hunted similar animals, collected similar plants, used similar rivers. Sometimes they probably saw each other's campfires glowing in the distance. Imagine that moment. You wake before sunrise. You climb a nearby ridge. Smoke rises from another valley. It isn't your family. It isn't your tribe. It's another kind of human. They walk upright. They speak. They laugh. Their children play. But they are not your people. How would that meeting have felt? Would you approach? Would you hide? Would curiosity overcome fear? Or would fear always win? For decades, scientists imagined constant war between Neanderthals and modern humans. It seemed like the obvious explanation. One species replaced another. But DNA told a different story. In 2010, geneticist Svante Pääbo and his team published the first draft of the Neanderthal genome. The results shocked the scientific world. Most people living outside Africa today carry between 1 and 2% Neanderthal DNA. That means our ancestors didn't simply fight Neanderthals. Some fell in love. Families formed, children were born. The two human species became part of each other's history. The Neanderthals did not vanish without leaving a trace. Part of them is still reading these words through your eyes. If Neanderthals became part of us, why did they disappear? For years, scientists searched for a single cause. Climate change, disease, violence, competition. Each idea explained part of the mystery. None explained all of it. The truth was probably more complicated. Around 45,000 to 40,000 years ago, Europe entered another period of dramatic climate instability. Temperatures rose, then fell again. Forests became open grasslands. Grasslands became frozen tundra. The animals Neanderthals depended on constantly shifted their ranges. Every generation had to adapt all over again. Modern humans face the same changing world, but they may have possessed one crucial advantage: larger social networks. Archaeological discoveries suggest Homo sapiens exchanged tools, shells, pigments, and ideas across hundreds of kilometers. If one group struggled, another group could help. Knowledge traveled faster than people. Innovation spread before disaster arrived. A better spear design invented hundreds of kilometers away could eventually reach dozens of communities. Neanderthal groups appear to have been smaller and more isolated. That made every loss more dangerous. A harsh winter, a failed hunt, an illness. A single tragedy could erase an entire family line. The next time you look into a mirror, remember this. You are not looking at the survivor of an ancient world. You are looking at its living archive.